The market smelled of metal, dust, and fear. Bright lights from tall alien towers shone down on the cages where humans were kept. Chains clinked whenever someone moved. The air carried the sound of strange voices, alien merchants shouting prices, buyers arguing, slaves crying softly. Among them was a young human girl. Her clothes were torn, her hands bruised, and her eyes full of fire. She had been captured weeks ago, dragged across stars, and now stood on display like an animal. Her heart pounded as alien eyes examined her, cold and curious. Strong muscles. One alien hissed. Too small, not useful, another muttered. They spoke as if she were not even human. The girl's body shook with anger, but she refused to lower her head. Her spirit had not broken. Not yet, then it happened. One merchant yanked her forward by the chain around her neck and said loudly, "This one is cheap. She is stubborn but can be trained." The crowd laughed. Some aliens leaned closer to get a better look. That was the moment she snapped. "I am not your pet slave," the girl screamed. Her voice cut through the noise like a blade. Everyone froze for a second. Even the merchant blinked in shock. The crowd burst into cruel laughter. Some whistled, others shouted insults. "Did you hear her?" one alien said. "She thinks she has a choice." Another added, "Humans are all the same, loud, useless, and weak." But the girl did not stop. Her eyes burned with fury as she shouted again, "I will not bow to you. Do you hear me? I will never bow." The merchant struck her across the face. The sound echoed in the market. Her lip bled, but she did not cry. She lifted her head and glared, defiance burning brighter than the pain. The crowd grew restless. Some aliens were amused, others annoyed. A slave that refused to obey was not worth much. "Sell her for scraps," one said. "Or feed her to the hounds," another joked. But not everyone laughed. From the far side of the market, a figure watched in silence. He was taller than most aliens, his skin dark and marked with silver patterns that seemed to move under the light. His eyes glowed faintly, sharp and unreadable. Unlike the others, he did not laugh at her words. He simply observed as if studying a puzzle no one else could solve. Whispers spread through the market. "That's him. Don't look directly. He is dangerous." The girl noticed him too. His gaze was heavy, almost crushing, yet she did not look away. Something inside her screamed to fear him, but another part whispered, "He is different." The merchant, eager to impress, shouted in the alien's direction, "Great one. This slave is nothing but trouble. Not worth your attention." The tall alien stepped forward slowly and the crowd fell silent. His presence demanded respect, even fear. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm but carried power that silenced every whisper. "I will take her," he said. Gasps filled the market. The merchant's eyes widened. But she is disobedient, wild." "I said," the alien repeated, his glowing eyes fixed on the girl. "I will take her." The merchant swallowed hard and quickly bowed. No one argued with this kind of power. The deal was made. The girl was stunned. Her heart raced as chains were unlocked from the cage and placed into the alien's hand. She wanted to scream again, to fight, to refuse, but her voice caught in her throat. Why him? Why would someone like him want her? The alien did not drag her like the others did. He simply held the chain and walked, expecting her to follow. For a moment she thought about running. The market was wide, the shadows deep. Maybe she could slip away. But then she looked at the silent crowd. Hundreds of alien eyes, weapons ready. If she tried to escape, she would not make it 5 steps, so she followed. Every step felt heavier than the last. She glanced at the alien leading her, trying to read his face, but it was blank. Unreadable. He did not look at her like the others did, with hunger or cruelty. Instead, his eyes seemed to weigh her soul, as if searching for something hidden inside her. The girl's heart pounded. She hated him already. She hated his silence, his calmness, his power. But deep down, beneath the fear, one thought kept repeating in her mind. Why me? The market noise faded behind them as they moved toward a towering ship at the edge of the docking yard. Its surface gleamed with alien symbols, alive with light. The girl stopped for a second, staring at the massive vessel that would take her away from everything she had ever known. Her voice trembled, but she whispered fiercely to herself, "I am not your pet. I am not your pet." The alien glanced at her as if he had heard every word, and for the first time he almost smiled. The ship's doors closed with a heavy hiss, and the market was gone. The girl stood inside a vast hallway of silver walls and glowing lines, her chain still in the alien's hand. The silence felt louder than the market had been. No laughter, no shouting. Only the low hum of the ship's heart. She clenched her fists. Her mind screamed to fight, but her body trembled. This alien was not like the others. The way the crowd had gone silent when he spoke, the way even the merchant had bowed, told her he was powerful, dangerous. He walked ahead, tall and calm, as if her presence did not bother him at all. He didn't pull the chain. He didn't shove her. He simply expected her to follow. The girl hated it. She hated how calm he looked, how steady his steps were, as if he already knew what she would do. "I will run," she whispered under her breath. "I don't care what happens. I'll run." But her eyes flicked to the walls, smooth, seamless, alive with energy. No doors, no windows. She was trapped. The alien finally stopped in a chamber that looked like a control room. Strange symbols glowed across a wide table, and outside the large viewing screen, stars stretched like a sea of light. The ship was already moving, leaving the planet behind. The girl's chest tightened. So fast, I didn't even feel it lift. The alien turned and looked at her for the first time since leaving the market. His glowing eyes fixed on hers. She lifted her chin, refusing to look weak. "Why did you buy me?" she demanded, her voice sharper than her courage. For a long moment he didn't answer. He simply studied her face. Then at last he spoke in a deep, calm tone. "Because you shouted." The word stunned her. She blinked, confused. "What?" "None of the others shouted," he continued. "They cried. They begged. They broke. You shouted." Her anger flared. "So what? I don't belong to you." His face did not change. "And yet here you are." Her nails dug into her palms. She wanted to spit at him, to scream, but her throat burned with silence. He was right. She was here. The alien turned away and touched the glowing table. Symbols shifted like water under his hand. The ship hummed louder, entering deep space. The girl stepped closer, eyes wide. She had never seen technology like this. Earth had machines, ships, weapons, but this was different. It felt alive. Her voice softened, almost unwilling. "What are you?" The alien looked over his shoulder. "You will learn. But first you must understand this. In my ship you will obey 3 rules." He raised one finger. "No lies," a second finger. "No disobedience," a third. "No weakness." His words struck like stone. The girl glared. "And if I break your rules? Then you will learn why others fear me." His voice was quiet, but the threat inside it made her skin crawl. She swallowed hard, but did not look away. "You think you own me? You don't. I'll find a way to escape." The alien tilted his head slightly, almost curious. "Perhaps try." His calmness was worse than shouting. It was as if her defiance amused him, as if he welcomed the challenge. The girl's chest burned with frustration. She turned and yanked at the chain around her neck. It didn't break. The alien pressed something on the table, and with a sharp click, the collar unlocked. The chain fell to the floor. She froze. He had released her. Why would you?" she stammered. "You are free to walk this ship," he said. "There is nowhere to run. You cannot leave without me, so there is no need for chains." Her throat went dry. Freedom inside a cage was not freedom at all. Still, the weight of the collar gone made her shoulders lighter. She rubbed her neck and whispered, "Monster." The alien turned back to the stars, his voice calm as ever. "Perhaps, or perhaps something worse." Silence stretched. The girl's mind raced. He didn't treat her like a slave. He didn't treat her like a master treats a pet. But he also didn't treat her like an equal. She couldn't understand him. Why had he bought her? Why did he release the chain? Why did he look at her like she was important? The girl's stomach twisted. She hated the thought, but deep inside a question burned louder than her anger. What does he want from me? She sat in the corner of the chamber, watching him command the ship with hands that moved like he was painting light. She tried to keep her eyes sharp with hatred, but slowly confusion crept in. This alien was unlike anyone she had ever known, and that scared her more than chains ever could. The girl woke with a start. The bed beneath her was soft, not the cold metal floor she expected. For a moment she forgot where she was. The room around her was strange. Walls glowing faint blue, a ceiling that seemed alive with shifting stars. It wasn't a cell. It looked more like a guest chamber, but then she remembered. The alien. The purchase. the chain falling from her neck. Her chest tightened. She jumped off the bed, searching for a way out. The walls were smooth. No doors she could see, no windows. She felt trapped again. Then the wall shifted, melting like liquid metal, and he entered. The tall alien, calm as ever, with glowing eyes that saw everything. She stiffened. "What do you want now?" He looked at her without expression. "You must eat." A tray floated in behind him, carried by invisible force. On it lay strange food, pieces glowing faintly, drinks that shimmered like liquid crystal. The smell was sharp, unfamiliar. The girl folded her arms. "I'm not eating your poison." He stepped closer. "It is not poison. It is survival." Her stomach growled, betraying her. She bit her lip but did not move. The alien placed the tray on a table. "You are free to starve if you wish, but weakness is not tolerated here." His words reminded her of what he said before, no lies. No disobedience. No weakness, she frowned. "Why those rules? Why not just chain me and beat me like the others would?" The alien turned his back as if the answer was too obvious. "Chains break easily. Fear fades. But discipline stays." She stared at him, frustration boiling. "Discipline for what? I'm not your soldier. I'm not your pet." He paused. Slowly, he faced her again, his glowing eyes sharp. "Then what are you?" The question struck her harder than she expected. Her mouth opened, but no words came. What was she? A slave, a survivor? A human far from Earth, with no home, no family? Her silence seemed to interest him. He stepped closer, and though his face remained cold, his voice was softer. "If you cannot name yourself, others will name you." The girl's fists clenched. She wanted to scream again, to spit at him, but something inside her stirred, a strange feeling she didn't want to admit. Curiosity. "Who are you, really?" she demanded. "Why buy me? Why bring me here? What do you want from me?" He tilted his head, studying her. For a moment, she thought he might actually answer, but instead he said, "Eat, then we will speak." Her anger flared. She kicked the table, sending the tray crashing to the floor. The glowing food scattered across the smooth ground. "I told you I'm not yours." Silence. She waited for his fury, for punishment, for pain, but he only watched her, calm as stone. Then he bent down, collected a piece of food from the floor, and set it back on the tray. His hands, large and steady, moved with precision. He placed the tray back on the table and straightened. "You will eat when you are ready. Until then, you will learn." "Learn?" she snapped. "Learn what?" "Learn my world." He pressed his hand against the wall. It shifted again, opening into a wide corridor glowing with light. He stepped aside, gesturing for her to follow. The girl hesitated. Every part of her screamed not to obey, but staying alone in this strange room felt worse. Reluctantly, she stepped forward. The corridor stretched endlessly, alive with flowing symbols across the walls. Machines hovered silently, repairing, building, adjusting. It felt like the ship itself was breathing. "This vessel," the alien said as they walked, "is not just metal. It is alive with memory. Every wall, every circuit, every light, it remembers." The girl shivered. "You mean, it's watching us?" "It sees, it records. It judges," he replied calmly. "Much like me." Her skin crawled. They entered a vast chamber filled with strange weapons, tall spears of light, spheres that hummed, blades that bent space itself. She had never seen anything like it. What are these?" she whispered. "Tools of war," he answered. "The galaxy is not kind. Strength is the only law." He looked at her then, his eyes burning brighter. "That is why humans are hunted. That is why you were in chains." Her breath caught. "Because we're weak?" "No." His voice was low, firm. "Because you are not weak. Because they fear what you may become." Her chest tightened. She wanted to deny it, but deep down she remembered Earth's history. Wars fought. Victories won. Humanity had always been underestimated. The alien's words unsettled her more than cruelty ever could. He wasn't mocking her. He wasn't lying. He was warning her. She swallowed. "And you? Do you fear me?" His lips almost curved into something like a smile. "Not yet." The girl felt her heart pound, anger and confusion mixing with something else she didn't understand. She turned away, whispering to herself, "I'll never be yours." But a quiet voice inside her asked the question she dreaded most. If not his, then whose? The storm came without warning. The girl sat alone in her chamber, staring at the strange walls, whispering to herself that she would never obey him. She hugged her knees, wishing for Earth, for familiar skies, for a world where stars were only things she looked at, not prisons she lived among. Then the ship shook. The walls trembled. Lights flickered. The hum of the engines turned into a roar. She leapt to her feet, heart racing. The floor tilted beneath her, sending the tray of untouched food crashing once more. "What's happening?" she gasped. A loud voice echoed through the chamber, his voice steady even in chaos. Remain still, but she couldn't. The ship lurched again, throwing her against the wall. Sparks rained from the ceiling as a violent energy wave slammed against the hull. The sound was deafening, like thunder tearing through metal. Panic clawed inside her chest. She had lived through fear before, capture, chains, the market. But this was different. This was the fear of the universe itself, something vast and merciless. The door melted open and he appeared, tall and calm, even as the ship groaned around them. His glowing eyes seemed brighter, sharper, as if they absorbed the storm itself. "Come," he said. She shook her head, pressing back against the wall. "No, what is this? What's happening?" "Space storms," he answered, stepping closer. "Waves of raw energy. They crush ships, tear them apart." Her blood froze. "Then we're going to die?" He paused. "Not if you trust me." She laughed bitterly, though her voice shook. "Trust you? You bought me like an animal." The ship tilted again, throwing her forward. She fell hard against him. For a moment her hands pressed against his chest, solid, unmoving, warm despite the storm. She scrambled back, ashamed, but her body trembled. He didn't grab her. He didn't chain her. He simply turned and sat on a wide chair built into the chamber wall as if waiting. The storm roared louder, the ship shuddered violently, and the girl's breath came in shallow gasps. Her mind screamed at her to stay away from him, to hate him, to resist. But her body betrayed her. The fear was too heavy, too sharp. The universe outside wanted to crush her, and the only solid thing in this endless storm was him. Her legs moved on their own. She stumbled forward, trembling, and before she could stop herself, she curled into his lap like a child hiding from thunder. Her whole body shook. Her face pressed against his chest, and she hated herself for it. "I hate you," she whispered, voice cracking. "I hate you." But her tears betrayed her. The alien did not move. His arms did not cage her, but neither did he push her away. He sat perfectly still, his chest rising slowly beneath her cheek, steady as stone. "You are afraid," he said quietly. Her voice broke. "Of course I'm afraid. The ship, this storm, it's going to kill us." "No," he replied, calm as ever. "It will not. How can you be so sure?" she demanded, looking up with wet eyes. His glowing gaze met hers, firm, unshaken. "Because I am here, and while you are in my care, nothing will harm you." Her heart pounded harder at those words, and she hated that some part of her wanted to believe them. She wanted to scream again, to call him a liar, to fight. But the storm outside screamed louder, and her body pressed closer, trembling despite her anger. Minutes passed. The storm raged on, but his calmness wrapped around her like armor. Every shudder of the ship seemed smaller when she was pressed against him. Slowly, without meaning to, her sobs quieted. Her shaking eased, her voice was barely a whisper. Why are you doing this? Why not just let me break? Isn't that what you want?" He lowered his gaze, almost thoughtful. "No, I do not want you broken. I want you strong." His words confused her more than anything. Strong? Slaves were not meant to be strong. Slaves were meant to be obedient. She buried her face in his chest again, hiding her confusion in silence. The storm began to fade. The ship's hum steadied. The lights grew firm and bright again. Outside, the stars shone calm and cold as before. But inside, the girl felt something shift. She hated him still. She hated the chains, the purchase, the rules. Yet in that moment, curled in his lap, she had felt safe. For the first time since her capture, she had felt that maybe, just maybe, she would survive. She sat up quickly, wiping her face with her sleeve. Her eyes burned with anger and shame. "Don't think this means anything," she snapped. "I don't belong to you." The alien said nothing. He only looked at her, and in his eyes was something she could not understand. Not amusement, not cruelty, something heavier, something like patience. She turned away, clutching her arms around herself. Her heart betrayed her with every beat, whispering what her mind refused to say. "I am not his pet. But why does part of me want to stay close?" The girl could not sleep that night. The storm was gone, the ship was calm again, but her mind was louder than thunder. She lay on the strange bed, staring at the shifting stars above her, replaying the moment in her head. How she had curled up in his lap like a frightened child. Shame burned in her chest. She hated him. She hated herself even more. Yet she could not ignore the memory of his voice. While you are in my care, nothing will harm you. Why would a master say that to a slave? Why would an alien who bought her speak of protection instead of control? She sat up restless and her eyes drifted toward the wall. The ship was alive, he had said. Alive with memory. She wondered. What else did it remember? She pressed her hand against the glowing wall. To her surprise, the surface rippled like water. Then words, symbols appeared, flickering like ghosts. At first, she couldn't understand them. But slowly, as if the ship wanted her to see, the symbols reshaped themselves into simple forms her mind could read. What she saw made her breath stop. It was history. Lines of battles. Images of soldiers. Human faces. Not in chains, but in armor. Holding weapons. Standing tall. The ship showed her humans fighting aliens like him. Not begging, not broken, but winning. Her hand trembled against the wall. She saw great starships with Earth's flags. Human warriors leading attacks and alien armies falling back in fear. Humans had fought these aliens before, and humans had almost won. The wall shifted again, revealing broken treaties, whispered counsels, and one phrase repeating in alien tongue. Contain the human threat. Break their spirit. Never let them rise again. The girl stumbled back, her heart pounding. She understood now. They weren't keeping humans as slaves because they were weak. They were keeping them as slaves because they were dangerous. Her voice cracked in the silence. We were never pets. We were enemies. Correct, a voice said behind her. She spun around. He was there, standing in the doorway, watching her. His glowing eyes reflected the shifting history on the walls. Her throat tightened. You knew, yes, all this time. You knew what they did to us. What they fear about us, yes, her fist shook. Then why? Why buy me? Why bring me here? If humans scare you so much, why not destroy us all? The alien stepped closer, his presence heavy but calm. Because destruction is wasteful. Fear blinds the galaxy. They see only danger. But I see potential. Her eyes narrowed. Potential in me? I'm just one girl stolen from my home. He studied her face, his expression unreadable. One girl shouted when all others begged. One girl defied chains when others surrendered. You are not just one girl. You are proof of what they fear most, that humans will never bow forever. His words hit her like fire. She wanted to deny them, to call him a liar. But deep inside, something stirred. A piece of her she had buried under fear. Pride. For the first time since her capture, she felt it again. Human pride. But she pushed it down. She shook her head. No, you're only using me. You want me for something? He didn't deny it. Yes, I want you strong. I want you to learn, not to be my pet, but to be my equal. Her breath caught. Equal. No alien had ever spoken that word to a human. She stepped back, confused, angry, and afraid. Why me? Why not free all humans if you really believe that? His gaze darkened, and for the first time his calm voice carried a trace of sorrow. Because the galaxy is not ready. Because they would destroy you before you could rise. You must learn first. You must survive. The girl's chest ached. She wanted to scream at him, to accuse him of lying, but she could not. Deep inside, his words felt true. The ship's walls shifted again, showing her more images. Humans standing beside aliens, not as slaves, but as partners. Fighting together. Winning together. She stared, wide-eyed, her heart racing. Could it be real? Could humans and aliens fight side by side? Could she one day see Earth rise again? Her lips trembled. If I believe you, if what you say is true, then what happens to me now? The alien stepped closer, and though his face remained unreadable, his voice was firm. Now, you learn the truth of yourself. And you decide whether you will remain broken or rise. Silence filled the chamber. The girl's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. She turned away, clutching her arms around herself. She didn't want to trust him. She didn't want to need him. But for the first time, she felt a fire inside her chest, stronger than fear, stronger than chains. A fire that whispered, humans were never weak, and she would prove it. The girl had started to change. She no longer sat silently in her chamber, trembling with fear. She walked the ship's endless corridors, touching its glowing walls, listening to its quiet hum. She studied the strange weapons he showed her, the history the ship revealed, the lessons he pressed into her with his calm voice. She hated him still, or told herself she did. But she was learning. Every day her body grew stronger, her mind sharper, and then came the day everything broke. The ship jolted, alarms ringing for the first time since she had come aboard. The lights turned red, warning of danger. She froze, her heart racing. He entered the chamber with quick, firm steps. His calm was still there, but his eyes burned brighter. "They have found us." "Who?" she demanded. "Others of my kind," he answered. "They tracked the ship. They know I have you." Fear surged inside her. "Then what will they do?" His voice was low, steady. "They will demand your return. They will say you are property. They will want you chained again." Her breath caught. "And you'll give me back?" He looked at her for a long, heavy moment. Then he said firmly, "No." Before she could answer, the ship shook again, harder this time. The viewing screen lit up with 3 enemy vessels, larger than his, surrounding them like predators circling prey. A voice echoed through the chamber, broadcasted from one of the ships. "You have taken what is ours. Surrender the human or be destroyed." The girl's body turned cold. She stared at him, waiting for his answer. He stepped toward the screen, his voice like iron. "She is not yours. She is mine." The words pierced her heart. Mine. The same word the slavers had used, the same word that had broken her spirit. She flinched, her anger rising like fire. "I'm not yours," she shouted at him. "Don't you dare call me that." But he didn't turn to her. His eyes stayed on the enemy ships. "It is the only way they understand. If I call you equal, they will laugh. If I call you partner, they will destroy you. But if I call you mine, they hesitate. They know I do not surrender what I claim." Her chest twisted. His words made sense, but they still burned. Mine. She wanted freedom, not protection disguised as ownership. The enemy voice returned, harsher this time. "Then you will die with her." The first blast struck the ship. The girl screamed as the walls shook and sparks burst around her. He moved fast, pressing commands into the glowing table. The ship responded like a living beast, shields rising, weapons ready. Energy hummed, blades of light forming outside the hull. The battle began. The girl clung to the wall, watching as his calm face never changed. His hands moved like music, guiding the ship through chaos. Explosions lit the stars, enemy fire slamming against their shields. But they were outnumbered. 1 ship against 3. Even with his strength, she could see the cracks forming. The ship groaned under each hit. "They'll kill us," she whispered, fear creeping into her chest. He answered without looking at her. "Unless you help," she froze. "Me?" "Yes." He pointed to a smaller console glowing beside her. "The ship listens to you. It remembers your touch. It has shown you history. Now it will fight with you. If you let it." Her heart pounded. She had never touched the ship in battle. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't trained. But outside she saw the enemy ships circling closer, weapons glowing. Death was only moments away. She swallowed her fear and placed her trembling hand on the console. The surface rippled, then warmed beneath her palm. Symbols flowed across it, changing, rearranging into words she could almost understand. "Good," he said, his voice steady even as explosions rocked the chamber. "Tell it what you want." "Tell it to fight." Her lips trembled. "Fight," she whispered. The ship responded. Lights flared, weapons unleashed. Energy surged through its veins, beams of fire cutting through the darkness. 1 enemy ship exploded in a burst of light. The girl gasped. "It listened to me." "Yes," he said, "because you are human, and humans were never meant to bow." Her blood raced with fire. She pressed harder, commanding the ship again. Another strike, another explosion. The 2nd enemy ship fell, but the 3rd ship moved faster, stronger. It fired a blast so powerful the shields nearly collapsed. The girl was thrown to the floor. She coughed, pain shooting through her body. For a moment, despair washed over her, but then she heard his voice, calm, steady, unbreakable. "Stand. Do not show weakness." She forced herself up, her hands burning against the console. She shouted this time with all the rage inside her. "Fight!" The ship roared like a living beast. Energy blades tore through the final enemy vessel, splitting it apart. Flames lit the stars until nothing but silence remained. The girl collapsed to her knees, shaking. She had done it. She had fought. She had survived. He approached, standing over her. His voice was quieter now, but firm. "Do you see? They fear you for a reason." Her eyes burned as she glared up at him. "And you, what are you to me? Protector, master, monster?" His face was unreadable. "That is for you to decide. But know this, I will never surrender you." Her chest ached with fury and confusion. She hated him for calling her mine. She hated him for deciding her fate. But another truth burned deeper. Without him, without his ship, she would already be dead. And worst of all, part of her did not want to leave. The battlefield outside the ship had gone silent. The 3 enemy vessels were gone, 2 burning in pieces, 1 drifting powerless. The stars returned to their cold, endless glow, but inside the chamber, silence felt heavier. The girl leaned against the console, her chest rising and falling fast. Her hands still shook from the energy that had flowed through her. She had commanded a ship, destroyed enemies stronger than her, survived against the odds. She should have felt proud. She should have felt powerful. Instead, her heart was torn in two. She looked at him, tall, calm, his glowing eyes steady as always. He had fought beside her, trusted her to hold power no other human had ever touched, and yet he still called her mine. Her voice broke the silence. "I am not your pet. I am not your slave. Not now, not ever." For the first time, his expression changed. His face softened, almost unreadable, like stone cracking just a little. "I know," he said. The words caught her off guard. She blinked. "What?" He stepped closer, his presence heavy but no longer threatening. "You are not my pet. You are not my slave. You are human, and the galaxy will remember what that means." Her chest tightened. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust, but anger and pain still burned. She clenched her fists. "Then why did you call me yours in front of them? Why did you say it like I was a thing you owned?" His glowing eyes locked with hers. "Because the galaxy does not yet understand the word equal. They understand power. They understand ownership. And if claiming you as mine keeps you alive long enough to rise, then I will bear their misunderstanding." Her breath caught. His calm words carried weight she could not ignore. Still, her voice trembled. "And if I refuse? If I decide I don't want your protection? If I walk away?" His lips almost curved into something like sorrow. "Then I will not stop you. But the galaxy will." The girl turned away, staring at the stars beyond the screen. For the first time, she saw them differently. Not as prisons of light, but as battlefields waiting for her people to reclaim. She whispered, half to herself, half to the stars. Humans were never weak. We were never pets. She felt his gaze on her, patient, unshaken. Slowly, she turned back. "If I fight as myself. Not as your slave. Not as your property. As human." For a long moment, silence hung heavy. Then he bowed his head just slightly. A gesture of respect. "Then fight as human," he said. Beside me, her heart pounded. His words struck deeper than chains ever had. She hated him still in some ways. She did not understand him. But in this moment, for the first time, she did not feel like a prisoner. She felt like a soldier. The ship's walls shifted again, alive with memory. Images of humans in the past, fighting, rising, refusing to bow, flashed before her eyes. She saw herself in them. She saw strength, not weakness. Fire, not chains. She raised her chin. "Then teach me. Show me what the galaxy fears, and I will show them what a human can do." The alien's eyes glowed brighter. For the first time, she thought she saw pride in them. Not the pride of a master, but of someone who had been waiting for this moment. "You will learn," he said quietly. "And when the time comes, the galaxy will tremble." She stepped closer, her voice sharp but steady. "Not because I am yours, but because I am human." He nodded once. "Because you are human." The words echoed in the chamber like a promise. She turned back to the stars, no longer afraid. For the first time since her capture, she felt the fire of freedom inside her chest. The storm had not broken her. The chains had not destroyed her. Even the betrayal of the galaxy had only made her stronger. She whispered fiercely to the endless dark, "I will not bow. I will rise." And deep within the ship, as if it had heard her vow, the walls glowed brighter, pulsing with light. The ship itself seemed to answer, remembering her spirit, carrying her words into its living memory. The alien remained silent beside her, watching. For once he did not correct her. He did not order her. He simply stood there steady like a shadow that would not fall. The girl's heart burned. She did not know what tomorrow would bring. More battles, more chains, or perhaps something greater. But she knew one truth, carved into her bones, undeniable now. She was not a pet. She was not a slave, she was human, and humans would never bow forever.